Welcome back, boys and girls. We're about ready to start grade 4, lesson 11.4, which is all about joining and separating angles. But before I do that, what I want to do is ask you, how are you doing with working with your protractor? Are you feeling much more comfortable? Are you getting a hang of how to read the scales on the inner and the outer edge? Do you feel comfortable deciding whether your angle opens to the right or to the left? Are you comfortable in setting up your one ray on the 0 line of the straight edge of your protractor? Are you feeling like you've got a handle on this? I certainly hope so. Because today what we're going to do is we're going to try and answer the question, how can you determine the measure of an angle separated into parts? Let's go ahead and see if we can try this. Now, as you go into class tomorrow, one of the things that you're going to be doing is cutting a sheet of paper. And here's the math idea I want you to keep in mind. You can think of the angle ABC, and I'm just naming any angle ABC, as the whole, and the two angles that you form as parts of the whole. But because we're not going to do that activity until tomorrow, what I want to do is explain how we're going to go ahead and go about this. So keep this in mind as we go through the next couple of slides. All right, here you see the angle ABC. And I think there are a few things that we already know about this. So let's look at the angle and tell me something that you know for sure. Okay, you're right. Angle ABC is an acute angle. What does that truly mean? Well, we know that an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Okay, let's keep that in mind. All right, so here I have the angle ABC. And we know that ABC is an acute angle. It must be less than 80 degrees. And as you'll notice, I have a line that's drawn between the ray BA and the ray BC, which is cutting that angle ABC into two smaller angles. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my protractor. Unfortunately, you can't see this. And I'm going to measure the angle from here. Oops, let's get back here. From here to here. As I place my protractor, I find that this angle is 40 I'm sorry, I went ahead and measured the two smaller angles. The angle formed by the ray BC and the red line is 46 degrees, and the angle formed by the ray BA and the red line is 35 degrees. So if I take a look at angle ABC, what I have to do is go ahead and add together 35 degrees plus 46 degrees. So the angle ABC equals 81 degrees. In this way, I'm joining two smaller angles to create the measurement for the whole angle ABC. Pretty simple, but you are going to have to use your protractors to help you do your measurement. Now, one thing that I'll say is that you need to think about what your baseline is going to look like. Where will you place the protractor straight edge to help you measure those two smaller angles? And note that on the red line, there's no indication of any point to help you name those smaller angles. So keep that in mind as you're working through your problems today. All right, boys and girls, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you to add to find the measure of the angle and write an equation to show, to actually record your work. So as you're looking at number 1, I want you to look at what the angle is. You're right, the angle is PQT. Now, how will we find the measure of angle PQT? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to add 43 degrees plus 37 degrees because these are parts of the entire angle. So 43 degrees plus 37 degrees equals, equals 80 degrees. So the measure of angle PQT must be 80 degrees. Now, you try the next one. What is the angle measure for KLM? Okay, first I'm going to do is I see that there's a 90 degree plus a 10 degree. That equals 100 degrees. So the measurement of angle JKL must be 100 degrees. You've got this. Now, I'm going to ask you to think about this next question, and we're going to take a look at PQT as we do this. All right, here's my question for you. I want you to look back at number 1. Suppose you joined an angle to angle PQT measuring 10 degrees. How would you describe and draw that new angle? Let's think about that for a few minutes. Okay, so if you recreated and said that angle P Q T, angle P Q T would now equal, whoops, let's fix that Q, sorry, fix that Q. PQT now equals 90 degrees. So what I did was I drew out angle PQT at my 80 degree mark. Then I put my protractor down with vertex point Q and the ray QT on the 0 line, and I use the correct scale on the correct curve of my protractor to add 10%. And when I added my 10%, what happened to my angle? Yes, it became a 90 degree angle or a right angle. So I added my red box in the corner to show that the angle PQT, well actually it's not PQT because we don't have so this is not correct. PQT is still 80%. So let's say that PQT is still 80%, but I've now added 10 degrees to that, so I would need to have some mark on the red line to rename my angle Q. All right, let's move on. All right, boys and girls, here's the next problem that I'm going to give to you. This is, what is the measure of angle QRT? And I'd like you to show me the math and just exactly how you got this. All right, boys and girls, so here's what I thought. The angle DRQ appears to be a straight angle, which I know is 180 degrees. So I added the measurement of angle DRL plus the measurement of angle LRT, which is 75% plus 80%, 75 degrees plus 85 degrees, which equals 160 degrees. Then I subtracted 180 degrees for the straight angle minus 160 degrees, and I found a difference of 20 degrees. So I can conclude that the measurement of angle QRT equals 20 degrees. How did you find your answer? Is there more than one way to do this? Let's talk tomorrow. Here's practice problem number 1 for you. You're going to go ahead and show me your math on the blue line and then tell me the measure of angle RHS down here. Okay, let's go on to practice problem number 2. In practice problem number 2, which equation can you use to find the measure of angle XZW? I want you to circle it. Thank you. And finally, here's practice problem number 3. What is the measure of the unknown angle x? Explain how you know. So tell me in words. All right, boys and girls, see you tomorrow.